Hello, my name is Marta Hernández. I'm a scientist at LIMS, and welcome to my talk. Does your LIMS have these 5 data security measures in place? So, in this talk, we will see the importance of cybersecurity and the risks that are involved in a lab. Also, we will check the types of cyber attacks, and we will see the measures to prevent these cyber attacks. And I will tell you how an informatic tool such as LIMS can help you with this cyber attacks and with the cybersecurity in your lab. First, let's start with a very simple question. What is cybersecurity? So, according to the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, cybersecurity is the art of protecting networks, devices, and data for unauthorized access or criminal use, and the practice of ensuring confidentiality, integrity, and availability of this information. And cybersecurity includes all the procedures and methodologies that are used to protect computers, servers, mobile devices, electronic systems, networks, and data from malicious attacks. So, with the rapid development of the digital age, the cybercrimes have been on the rise. The exchange of data over the internet and the emergence of cloud based data stores have increased the risk of these cyber attacks. But what can we do to shield ourselves against these attacks? Well, it is imperative that laboratories switch from paper based data management methods and spreadsheets to a secure, automated data management system. And speaking about the security in the laboratory, well, the laboratories need to identify existing and potential safety risks. They have to minimize the existing risk that store and share, because these laboratories store and share considerable amount of data internally and externally on a daily basis. But another question will be, what do hackers want to steal? What's the importance of it? Well, hackers target data in cyber attacks. The sensitive data is all confidential information managed by a laboratory related to a patient or a provider or client that should not be revealed to a third party, and that is only accessible to authorized users. There are different kind of this sensitive data. It could be the protect health information, the personally identifiable information, the commercial information, clinical trials and study information, and the intellectual property. Let's see what are those things. So first, the protect health information. This applies to all the clinical laboratories, or can be the clinical research or of clinical diagnostic labs and biobanks. This protect health information refers to all the health information related to a patient or donor, including past, present, or future health conditions. The HIPAA privacy rule provides federal protections for this personal health information held by covered entities and gives patients an array of rights with respect to that information. This privacy rule encompasses all medical records and other individually identifiable health information used or disclosed by covered entity in any form, whether electronically or in paper or orally. Everything is covered. So, the personal identifiable information, well, as the name says, it's any type of information that can be used to identify a person. It can include the person's name, address, identification number, financial information, social security numbers, among others. Laboratory data must be anonymous so that it cannot be tracked back to an individual. So the next kind of information will be the commercial information. The labs have sensitive information related to business partners, such as suppliers or creditors or debtors. So this information is sensitive and should never be disclosed to third parties. The clinical trials and study information applies obviously to institutions that deal with clinical trials and research. This refers to all kinds of information that is collected and generated in the process. For example, the participant medical records, phone encounters or notes. It could be also the test results or reports, studies, participant diaries, and specific research worksheets. And next will be the intellectual property. This refers to any IP created. This includes all the methods or product formulations or drug models, catalyst compositions, or any study design that it's developed in the laboratory. It also includes the commercial information for sales data, business agreements, and business plans. So how to protect your laboratory from cyber attacks, how to protect this essential information that you have in your laboratory. Well, a laboratory shares data with interested parties internally and externally. Labs must securely share this information with some stakeholders to ensure data security. Labs should preferably work only with those vendors that follow cybersecurity best practices. And well, this can be difficult because not every vendor follow these best practices. So the labs must introduce hacker schemes to the staff. They have to be familiarized with this type of practices. They have to organize training sessions for the staff to raise awareness of the schemes hackers routinely use to infiltrate labs. For example, the spear phishing. This is when hackers send fraudulent emails to extract confidential information. Or the watering hole attacks. This is when hackers discover websites that are used by the lab staff and infect those websites with some malwares and virus to collect information and credentials from the database. Also, they have to follow cybersecurity practices. The laboratories must ensure secure remote access via a virtual private network, or the famous VPN, for personal accessing laboratory instruments remotely. They have to identifying vulnerabilities early is critical to managing these security measures as soon as possible. And the laboratory staff should use strong passwords to access data stored on computers or cloud databases and update them frequently. And laboratories must implement these two-factor authentication mechanisms to strengthen data security. These are some of the cybersecurity practices that you can follow in your laboratory. Another thing that laboratories can use are the regular data backups. These backups reduce the risk of losing digital data. And also the data replication. This is copying data to storage devices or cloud servers that are located in different physical locations and recovering if the data is damaged or lost. And also something really important here. It's that laboratories should have a system to automatically take regular data backups and define a time intervals to minimize the chances of data loss due to natural disasters. And something that is really important here and is really recommendable is to deploy a secure LIMS system. But next question will be why a LIMS? Well, labs must deploy a laboratory information software, a LIMS, with foolproof security mechanisms to safeguard the data. They have to, can help in 5 different ways. That is secure data servers and automatic backups, secure login and identify unauthorized access, role-based access two-factor authentication to prevent data loss, errors, and manipulation, and this data encryption. So let's see how does it works. First, secure data servers. Well, the data centers and data servers are the first security shield for your LIMS. So a good LIMS must ensure that all of their servers meet the following requirements. ISO 27001 compliance also must be up to date with all the security patches in place. Your LIMS must have a firewall and watchdogs in place. Must be monitored and execute penetration tests before every release. So all LIMS vendor provide users IDs and passwords, but these can be quickly compromised. Just so you need another layer of security because hackers can use sniffing techniques to compromise this password. Hence, the need for additional security measures, of course. So a proper LIMS offers solutions like digital signatures, two-factor authentication, and audit trails of all activities with the date and timestamp as an added layer of protection. For example, a LIMS enforces the staff to authenticate themselves using a two-factor authentication mechanisms. It's an OTP and a password-based login for this secured data access. So the two-factor authentication is required when a LIMS information is accessed through different devices, including phones or laptops. It adds an additional layer of security to confirm that the first layer of security, the login passwords, has not been compromised. Moreover, it locks the staff accounts temporarily on account of multiple failed login attempts. So, LIMS also can be configured to make digital signatures mandatory for several activities, such as the addition of test results, for example, or the deletions of samples. LIMS enforce this older staff to authenticate these key lab activities through digital signatures. And also they are known as electronic signatures and specify the reason for such activities. So this provides an additional another one layer of data security and prevents any chances of unauthorized changes. Audit trail. Well, with the LIMS in place, the manual manipulation of data is not possible. Why? Well, because of the read-only audit trail. So a LIMS tracks all the laboratory activities, such as any changes made on the documents, on the sample records or test results, and even the login activities of the staff. There are not time travel issues here. The LIMS do it automatically with the date and timestamp. You don't have to cross dates or change hours. No, no, no. Everything it's automatically here in your LIMS. Role-based access. It is important to protect information from unauthorized internal access. This requires the assignment of user roles with certain permissions, only at certain levels. And you have to know what users can access and which one will be restricted to what is necessary for their functions. So let's see how LIMS helps you with this. As you can see here, the labs can assign rights to the staff for accessing sample and patient information based on the roles. There is a master admin in your laboratory who is going to assign these roles based on their hierarchy of the of on your laboratory. So some of them, for example, the manager has access to all the information and to all the activities in your laboratory, but some of them no. For example, the technician or a visitor, they only can view if your lab I'm sorry, if your master admin authorized this. And also, well, if we have this audit trail, we will see every step of who access to what information and why. So everything is will be really secure with a LIMS in place in your laboratory. There is another layer that you can add to your LIMS is the CAPTCHA and the two-factor authentication. This CAPTCHA helps to confirm that the system has not been compromised by any spam software that is designed to extract information from a website. It is usually is in the form of a simple mathematical calculation to confirm that a user is actually, well, human. We all see in these websites if that you have to confirm that you are not a robot. Well, that's the captcha. So LIMS data must be end-to-end encrypted. This encryption means turning information into an unreadable version where a key is needed to decrypt this information. So in a Git LIMS, the data is encrypted so that outside viewers cannot read it. So even if they had unauthorized access. So the information is only decrypted through authorized access that it's limited to the level of permission granted. So you can do it also with this, with the LIMS. How? Well, we can see here the masked data can be viewed only by authorized personnel. Each time an unauthorized person views or make any changes, the activity is also recorded in the audit trail. And this is really important because sometimes in the audits, the external auditors can ask for, I don't know, a sensitive data report. So you have it here automatically in your LIMS. So you can see we cannot see anything here in this slide because all our is masked data and we're not authorized to see this information. So in conclusion, the data security should be a top priority for any organization. We know that we have very sensitive data in our laboratories. It's very important and is protected by the law. So we have to focus in this, that the data security must be a priority to avoid any sanctions. Also, the measures must be in place to ensure that all digital resources in any organization are protected from unauthorized access. The cybersecurity involve putting these measures in place because the reputational damage is the greatest cause of a data breach. This is really, really bad for your laboratory if any hacker can access to it and can extract this sensitive information. This very important information could be lawsuits and could be sanctions and could be very, very bad things for your lab if something like that happens. So I give you here in this presentation some tips to improve your cybersecurity in your lab. And well, I think with the LIMS could be a very, very good way to, to shield your laboratory with cybersecurity. So thank you very much for your attention.